Hey Kaza crew, it's your Kaza Investor Network here. Today's Flippy File, we're in one of our rehab jobs talking about best times to come and inspect your jobs. Obviously, in a perfect world, you could be at your job every day, checking on progress, making sure things are getting done right in the way you want them. But that's usually not going to be feasible for most folks. So there are a few critical times, though, that you should be checking in on your jobs, depending on what work is being done. Obviously, framing anything structural, you want to make sure that things are going in where you want them, walls are going where you're wanting them to be. Any kind of plumbing and electric work that's being done should hopefully be getting inspected so that it's being done properly, but as to where it belongs, that should be on you. So whether you want double sinks or where you want toilets or what size bathtubs you want put in is something you're going to want to check when the plumbing goes in and before they get their final close-in inspections and start hanging drywall, putting down tile, and doing other things. Obviously, it's a lot harder and more expensive to make those kind of changes after tile goes in. So you obviously want to be in earlier, but speaking of tile, tile day is also another really good day to show up at your job. So we're in here in a shower in the master bath, and when we got here today, guys are working on tile and noticed some problems here in the master shower. Not very uncommon, especially when you're using large tile like this. These larger tiles are going to be thicker than the accent tile. In this case, we have a glass Listello band accent tile. This tile is going to be much thinner, and since it is thinner than the tile below it, it's harder to get these tiles to line up evenly and to be smooth. Let's see if I can get an angle on it here. To get these tiles to match, to have their profile be the same. It just takes some skill and some practice, and in the case of this tile, when it first got done, wasn't looking so hot. The lines were going to be a little messed up, the grout lines weren't going to look too good, and it was going to be just wavy and not what we were looking for. Thankfully, it was still kind of wet, so we were checking it and watching what the guy was doing. We were able to stop him and say, hey, not what we're looking for here, let's go ahead and pull this off. Try it again, called the boss, said, hey, talk to your guy, do what you got to do to get somebody to show this guy what to do, but get our tile done properly. Another item was the spacers that were used or not used in this case. They were using nails for spacers instead of floor spacers. I'll show you the proper spacers in a second. But that's the kind of thing that really easy to correct when the tile is still wet, when the mastic behind the tile is still wet. You can just peel it off and start over. They can do it as many times as they need to get it right. Obviously, much harder to correct once the tile has already been set. Let's take a look at another bathroom and I'll show you what I'm talking about. So here in a hall bathroom, you can see we've got spacers going in on the tile on the floor, which is good. Your guys should be using spacers where necessary, even on the tiles on the wall, especially again at those trim bands, where if you don't, you can get no grout line or a very small grout line on one side and a very thick grout line on the other, and it's really obvious once the grout goes in and doesn't look too good. So make sure that you're checking on tile day and make sure that guys are using spacers where appropriate, lining things up, check those grout lines, make sure that they're relatively even and looking good, because it is the easiest time to fix it, again, when the tile and mastic are still wet and loose and easily peeled off. Not the end of the world to get them off afterwards, but it's just a good bit more work. You're going to break all that tile and perhaps get in a more heated discussion with your contractor over exactly what kind of quality you want. Really easy to have that discussion the day that the work is being done. Take a look at one more bathroom. I'll show you what I mean there. And so down here in the last bathroom, as you can see, our tile is going in, and our wall tile came out very nicely because they used those spacers I was talking about, and got that brick pattern spaced out just so. Looks great. Then we had a discussion on the floor as to what direction we wanted that floor to go based on the size and shape of the tile. See, our guy's going to be using his spacers there. And again, hang out for a couple minutes, see how that stuff is starting to go in, and if you like it, you're in good shape. If you don't like what's happening, right now is the easiest time to make corrections, make changes, and kind of change your mind on stuff. So you always want to kind of be here on tile day. And another quick tip for before tile day, go ahead and mark when the tile shows up where everything goes in the house, because you're going to have, if you have multiple bathrooms, boxes of tile. If you're doing different looks in different bathrooms, you'll have different kinds of tile all over the place. Best thing to do is when that stuff comes in, Stop by, make sure it's what you wanted, mark it up, make sure you've got it marked as to which bathroom it goes in, and floor tile, wall tile, what have you, and make sure that you're getting what you were thinking you were getting and getting what you wanted, because it's way easier to take 5 minutes and do that now than have it go in the wrong place and have to fix it later. So that's your flippy tip for the day. Hit us up at CasaInvestorNetwork.com if there's any other questions you have, any other way we can help, and we'll see you next time.